If these well-known Japanese brands sit back and allow, the American companies and the Chinese companies to take over their market, they might just be left, out of the system. Hello, tech enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. As always, with me, Wilbert, bringing you tech news from across the globe. Today, we're going to be talking about speedy news. Speedy news, yes. We're going to be talking about cars, electric vehicles, and speed. In our first story, Porsche has unveiled one of the fastest cars in the world, and it is an electric vehicle. So, Porsche has introduced their most powerful production or mass-produced car it has ever made. This is an electric 1,093 horsepower Taycan Turbo GT coming to the market this summer. This has already set 2 racetrack records for an electric vehicle. It has even beat one set by a Tesla Model S by a gigantic 18 seconds. So in the world of racing and setting records, 18 seconds is big. So yes, beating the Tesla Model S by 18 seconds is huge. And the Tesla Model S is one of the fastest cars in the world. So this speaks to how fast this car really is. So it has high horsepower numbers and eye-popping acceleration, is more common amongst electric cars rather than gasoline-powered cars, especially in EVs that have multiple motors. So performance figures like this serve as a practical value, of course. It would be impossible to approach this car's potential other than one on a track or with someone who really has good driving skills to be able to achieve, or hit such record speeds. So yes, you won't be able to hit the speeds if you don't have the skill to do it. Of course, you need to be an experienced race car driver to be able to maneuver the vehicle to hit such a speed. This Turbo GT is a new version of the electric Porsche Taycan, which features 2 motors. Together, they can produce more than 1,000 horsepower. This kind of high horsepower for an electric vehicle won't come cheap, right? This is not a cheap product. Of course, it's a Porsche, so this Porsche will cost you about $230,000. Now, there's someone in Ghana who has Tesla Model S, I believe, and so we might just be able to see this car, driving around in East Legon. Just keep your eyes on East Legon. Don't think that this car is a far-fetched one. You might just see it in the coming weeks, driving on the streets of Accra. Yes, would you like to own such a vehicle? Are you a Porsche fan, right? Having such a super powerful car being produced by Porsche, and it also happens to be an electric vehicle, just tells you that the world or the time where gas-powered cars were hitting it and crunching the numbers is far gone. EVs are taking over, and even for high advanced sport cars as well. In our next story, we are talking about Honda and Nissan, who have signed an MOU to begin production of electric vehicles. Now, Honda and Nissan, who have signed a memorandum of understanding that will see the 2 rival companies work together to build new EVs. In football terms, this would be like Barcelona and Real Madrid, working together to build a team or sign new players. So this is actually very huge news. Now, why exactly are they doing this? Because yes, there are 2 Japanese brands that are rivals, right? So in Japan, there are about 5 companies which I would declare as the top 5. And the first one being Toyota, the second being Honda, and then there's Nissan, there's Suzuki, and then there's Subaru. The second and the third are the ones that are collaborating now. So why would they actually make this move? Now, if we look at the world of electric vehicles, right, we've not been really hearing a lot from Japanese brands, right? Like I mentioned, Toyota. Yes, Toyota has a few electric vehicle technologies that they're releasing here and there. And then there's China. China is doing a lot in the electric vehicle market, right? Even if you come to motorcycles, right, there's Weihong, which is here in Ghana, and I believe they source most of their parts from China and the rest. So if these well-known Japanese brands sit back and allow the American companies and the Chinese companies to take over their market, they might just be left out of the system. We are told that this MOU is non-binding. That means that whatever term that they agree to are not, legally backing. Yes, of course, this is in a good direction, and it is said that this is not so much about the production of cars, but really about the technology that backs the production of electric vehicles. So we're talking about batteries, we're talking about motors, we're talking about other technologies, right? The EV hardware itself. How can they build an efficient system that can actually make their EV productions thrive and beat their competition? So this is a very good move. Hardly do we see competing brands actually coming together. It would interest you to know that yes, most of them work together, right? There are many cars, which are in the US that actually use Japanese engines, right? Or previously, when Apple did not actually produce most of their hardware, they were actually sourcing screens and chips from Samsung, right? So companies do work together, but hardly do you actually see them coming out in the open to sign an MOU, that's a memorandum of understanding, to actually collaborate to bring out technology that helps save them. So yes, this is a step in a good move, and I long to see African companies actually doing so. Will we ever see Kantanka and Proforce in Nigeria actually collaborating and saying that, look, we are going to take over the West African market and produce cars that are actually fitted for our environment, right? People outside of our world are collaborating effectively to be able to champion their agendas forward collectively. How can we also emulate this within our motherland? So once again, we have come to the end of our story. That's all I have for you today. But I mean, the search for the biggest tech discoveries does not end here. Join us in the comments and let's continue our discussions. I'd like to hear your thoughts on all the stories that are provided for you today. And if you have anything of interest that you want us to also speak to, right? If there are any interesting topics that you want us to cover, drop it in the comments. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments and we'll be sure to attend to it. See you in the next one. Peace.